The studio lights blazed, the audience buzzed, and that unmistakable thump, thump, thump of the chase theme thundered through the speakers. Cameras panned across the gleaming set, and then, like clockwork, Bradley Walsh strode out, beaming like a man who'd just won a lifetime supply of banoffee pie. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the chase," he called, spreading his arms wide. The crowd erupted. The show where four players join forces to take on one of the best quiz brains in the country, and hopefully leave with a shed load of cash. Let's meet them. Four hopeful contestants stood behind their podiums, clutching their buzzers like talismans. But tonight, one contestant, Martin, would make the chase history, though not for the reasons he imagined. Round 1. The unusual introduction. "First up, it's Martin," Bradley said, glancing at the monitor. 43 from Leeds. "What do you do, Martin?" Martin, a stocky man in a checked shirt, smiled nervously. "I'm a plumber, Brad." "Good man," Bradley nodded. "And what would you do if you won a load of money tonight?" "Well," Martin said, squinting into the lights, "I'd probably fix my van. It's, held together with duct tape and hope. And maybe take the missus on holiday." "Lovely. Where to?" Martin's brow furrowed in deep thought. "Somewhere hot. Maybe Belgium?" The audience tittered. Bradley blinked. "Belgium?" Martin nodded confidently. "Yeah, I've heard it's tropical." Bradley's eyebrows shot up like startled birds. "Tropical? Martin, the hottest thing in Belgium is a waffle iron." The laughter grew, and Martin grinned sheepishly. "Well, maybe I'll pack some sun cream just in case." Bradley chuckled, shaking his head. "I've got a feeling this is going to be an interesting show." Round 2. The Cash Builder. 60 seconds on the clock," Bradley said, eyes twinkling. "Let's build you some cash." The timer began. "Who painted the Mona Lisa?" "Michelangelo," Martin blurted. "Leonardo da Vinci," Bradley corrected smoothly. "Next, what is the main ingredient in guacamole?" "Apples." Bradley froze. "Apples?" Martin nodded earnestly. "Yeah, green ones." "Martin, are you sure you're not confusing it with a fruit salad?" "Well, they both go with toast, don't they?" At that point, Bradley cracked. He doubled over the podium, laughing so hard his shoulders shook. The audience roared. "Oh, Martin, we're 2 questions in, and I think I need to lie down." By the end of the minute, Martin had somehow stumbled his way to £2,000 and a standing ovation from the amused audience. Round 3. Enter the Chaser. "All right, Martin, time to face the music," Bradley announced. "Who's it going to be today? The governess, the sinner man, the beast, the vixen, or the dark destroyer?" The screen flashed dramatically. Out strode Mark, the beast Labbit, towering and intimidating. "Oh no," Martin muttered. "He's massive." Bradley grinned. "Don't worry, mate. He only eats contestants on weekends." Mark smiled smugly. "Martin, that was one of the most entertaining cash builders I've ever seen." "Thanks, Mark. I aim to confuse." "You've succeeded," the beast replied. The offers. Your £2,000 is safe in the middle. If you want to take a step closer to home, Mark will lower it. If you want to take him on head-to-head, he'll raise it. What are the offers? Mark smirked. "If you go low, Martin, I'll give you minus £500. The audience groaned. "And if you fancy your chances," Mark continued, "the high offer is £40,000. Bradley turned to Martin. 40 grand, Martin! That's a lot of avocados." Martin nodded seriously. "Or apples." Bradley bit his lip to stop himself laughing again. "Yes, Martin, or apples." Martin looked at the offers thoughtfully. "You know what, Brad? I'm feeling lucky. I'll go for the £40,000. The audience gasped. Even Mark looked impressed. 40 grand, Martin! That's brave. Or slightly unhinged. Martin winked. Maybe both. The head-to-head. The game began, and to everyone's shock, including his own, Martin started strong. Question 1. In Greek mythology, who turned everything he touched to gold? Martin, Midas. Correct. Question 2. What is the capital of Iceland? Martin, Reykjavik. Correct. Question 3. Which instrument has keys, pedals, and strings? Martin, a banjo? Oh, no. Bradley slapped his forehead. A piano, Martin. What kind of banjos are you playing in Leeds? Big ones, Martin said innocently. The beast shook his head in disbelief, chuckling despite himself. But somehow, Martin kept just ahead. The tension built with every question, the audience whispering, gasping, cheering. By the final round, Martin had one step left to make it back to the team. The question. Bradley looked down at his card, then up at Martin. Right, this is for 40,000 pounds. You get this right, you're home free. You get it wrong, the beast catches you. Simple as that. He read aloud. What was the first drink consumed on the moon? Martin frowned, tapping his chin thoughtfully. I know this one, he said, squinting. It wasn't water. The audience held its breath. Well, don't leave us hanging, mate. Martin's eyes lit up. Was it lager? The studio went silent. Then Bradley, unable to contain himself, burst out laughing so hard he doubled over the desk again. Lager, he wheezed. You think Neil Armstrong popped open a can of Stella on the moon? Martin shrugged earnestly. He'd earned it, hadn't he? Bradley was crying now, clutching his sides. Oh, Martin, have you been drinking? The audience howled, clapping and stomping their feet. Even the beast had to turn away to hide his laughter. No, Martin said, completely serious. Just had a Lucozade before the show. Bradley gasped for breath. That explains everything. The aftermath. When the laughter finally died down, Bradley managed to compose himself long enough to reveal the correct answer. The first drink consumed on the moon, he said, still giggling, was communion wine, not lager. The beast got it right, of course, and Martin was caught. But when he walked back to his team, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. Bradley clapped him on the back. Martin, you might not have won the 40,000 pounds, but you've given us one of the best moments in chase history. Cheers, Brad, Martin said cheerfully. Next time I'll revise my moon facts. Bradley grinned. Next time, mate, just stay away from the Lucozade. The final chase. The rest of the team fought valiantly, but the beast, clearly re-energized by laughter, swept through their questions with terrifying precision. They went home empty-handed, but smiling. As the credits rolled, Bradley turned to the camera with a mischievous grin. Well, that's it for tonight, he said. Join us next time when we'll have more questions, more cash, and hopefully fewer contestants who think the moon landing was sponsored by Carlsberg. The audience erupted again, and Martin waved like a local hero. Epilogue. 1 week later. The clip went viral overnight. Bradley Walsh loses it on the chase, racked up millions of views. Memes flooded the internet. Martin's face photoshopped onto the moon holding a pint, captions like "One small sip for man" and "Armstrong's happy hour." Martin became an unexpected celebrity in Leeds. Strangers bought him drinks, not alcoholic, of course, and one local brewery even released a limited edition pale ale called Lunar Lager. Bradley, meanwhile, couldn't stop mentioning it in interviews. Oh, Martin, he'd say, chuckling, funniest bloke I've ever had on the show. Thought the moon was a pub crawl destination. Closing lines. Months later, The Chase celebrated its 1,000th episode. To mark the occasion, Bradley surprised everyone by inviting back some of the show's most memorable contestants, including Martin. When Martin walked out, the crowd went wild. He took his place behind the podium once more, wearing a shirt emblazoned with a cartoon astronaut holding a pint. Bradley grinned. "Welcome back, Martin. How have you been?" Martin smiled. "Sober, Brad." The audience erupted again, and Bradley wiped away tears of laughter before reading the first question. And thus the chase reminded us why it wasn't just a quiz, it was pure, unpredictable joy. Because sometimes all it takes is one contestant, one question, and one perfectly timed line.